When the world tuned in to watch the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in 2018, it seemed like a perfect fairy tale. The media called it the wedding of the century, a charming prince, a glamorous bride, and the promise of a new royal chapter. But behind the glittering smiles and grand ceremony, shocking truths were unfolding. Was this really a celebration of love or something far more calculated? Stay with us, because what really happened might change how you see it forever. But according to Arthur Edwards, the veteran royal photographer who has spent decades following the royals across the globe, the wedding was far from magical. In fact, he calls it the worst royal wedding he has ever covered, a day of chaos, disappointment, and hidden tensions that revealed much than the public was ever meant to see. When news of Harry and Meghan's engagement first broke, the United Kingdom erupted with excitement. Here was the son of Princess Diana finally finding love and happiness. The media was buzzing, the streets of London filled with anticipation, and people across the world eagerly awaited the spectacle at Windsor Castle. It was supposed to be a grand celebration that brought together tradition, family, and hope. The guest list added even more to the hype. Celebrities like Oprah Winfrey, Elton John, Serena Williams, and George and Amal Clooney all received invitations. To outsiders, it looked like a dazzling red carpet event blended with royal tradition. But Arthur Edwards noticed something unusual. Many of these A-listers had barely any connection to the couple. Oprah, for example, had only met them briefly, and her invite reportedly came through the Clooneys. Some celebrities, like Reese Witherspoon, declined the invitation altogether, openly saying she didn't know them well enough to attend. For Edwards, this was the first sign that the event was less about celebrating love and more about orchestrating a glamorous showbiz affair. It seemed like a carefully staged media event, designed to shine a spotlight on the couple rather than reflect the warmth and intimacy of past royal weddings. For the veteran photographer, this wasn't just another assignment. He had been behind the camera for countless royal occasions, capturing everything from King Charles's weddings to Prince William and Kate Middleton's fairytale ceremony, which he recalls as filled with genuine joy and tradition. But with Harry and Meghan, things felt very different. From the very beginning, Edwards could sense something was off. Instead of cooperation, he faced resistance. Prince Harry, still harboring anger toward the press for its harsh treatment of Meghan during their engagement, made sure to avoid the cameras at every opportunity. Edwards recalls bitterly, "I never got one picture published from that day." For him, the message was clear. The press was being punished. Instead of celebration, the day carried an atmosphere of tension and resentment. While television audiences around the globe saw what looked like a flawless fairy tale, the reality on the ground was brutal. The first challenge was the heat. Guests dressed in elaborate royal attire were forced to sit under the blazing sun without shade. Men in stiff suits and women in extravagant hats desperately fanned themselves with the official wedding programs, trying to keep cool. Edwards himself remembers feeling as though he might collapse, sweltering in clothing that felt more suited for winter than summer. Then came the food, or rather the lack of it. Instead of a royal feast worthy of the occasion, guests were served small canapes, finger food so tiny and underwhelming that many left feeling hungry and frustrated. Edwards overheard several guests joking that they would have been better off staying home. For what was supposed to be one of the most important royal occasions of the decade, the catering felt shockingly inadequate. But perhaps the greatest insult came in the seating arrangements. High-ranking royals with decades of loyal service to the crown were seated at the back of the chapel, while lesser royals and celebrity guests were given the best spots. Edwards himself found his view completely blocked, seated among minor figures with little connection to the monarchy. He later joked that he felt like he was watching the ceremony through a GPS app. To him, this was a clear sign of misplaced priorities. Tradition was being pushed aside for celebrity status. As the day unfolded, Edwards became convinced that this wasn't really a wedding at all. It was a formal networking event, crafted to maximize media attention and celebrity connections. Where Prince William and Kate's wedding had been a warm family affair rooted in history, Harry and Meghan's wedding felt more like a carefully orchestrated spectacle designed to launch a brand. Even more striking was Harry's behavior toward the photographers. Rather than smiling and embracing the cameras, he seemed determined to avoid them altogether. Edwards recalls how Harry deliberately turned his head during key moments, ensuring that no flattering shots could be taken. It was obvious he was angry, and that anger, Edwards felt, ruined the spirit of the day. For Edwards, this wasn't just frustrating professionally, it was symbolic. It showed that Harry and Meghan were no longer interested in cooperating with the royal institution or its traditions. They were carving out a different path, one that had less to do with service and more to do with controlling their own media narrative. In the months after the wedding, Edward's suspicions seemed to be confirmed when Harry and Meghan sat down for their bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey. In the now infamous broadcast, they accused the royal family of racism and mistreatment. While the world was shocked, Edwards dismissed the interview as one-sided and unfair. He believed it was just another calculated move to fuel the couple's growing media empire. To Edwards, the wedding had been the first act of this new life. It was never meant to be about tradition or family unity. It was a symbolic turning point. From that day forward, Harry and Meghan were no longer bound by royal duty. They were free to build their own brand, even if it meant breaking away from the monarchy. In the years since, this break has only grown deeper. The couple moved to California, signed multi-million-dollar media deals, and distanced themselves from the royal family. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, rarely see their royal relatives. Even King Charles and Prince William have had. When Harry returned to the UK for the Invictus Games ceremony, he declined to stay at a royal residence, citing security concerns, despite the fact that palaces are some of the most secure buildings in the world. Instead, he stayed at Coworth Park Hotel near Windsor Castle, bringing his own private security detail. For Edwards, this decision was yet another sign that Harry wanted to distance himself from royal life, preferring independence even when it seemed unnecessary. Looking back, Edwards remains clear in his assessment. Harry and Meghan's wedding was the worst royal wedding he had ever attended. Unlike the warm celebrations of Prince William and Kate Middleton, or the meaningful traditions of King Charles's ceremonies, this one felt cold, staged, and calculated. What should have been a joyous union turned into a performance. More about celebrity status and future branding than about love or duty. What the world saw as a fairy tale, Edward saw as a media event. What was supposed to be a day of love and family became a reminder that appearances can be deceiving. Behind the glamour and headlines, it was a day filled with tension, disarray, and ambition. So what do you think? Was Harry and Meghan's wedding a true royal love story, or a carefully staged performance for the cameras? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more untold royal stories, and stay tuned, because the truth behind the crown is always more complex than it seems.